Welcome back, my friends. Welcome to Gorman Wrestling Productions and Royal Rumble Weekend. No matter what your opinions are of the direction of the company or who's getting a push or who's not getting a push, if you are a genuine wrestling fan, this is one of the most exciting days in the entire year. And today, we are going to jump right into my Royal Rumble and WrestleMania predictions. Now, small disclaimer with this, these are predictions based on the direction the storylines are going. Doesn't necessarily reflect of what or how I would have booked things, but this is pretty much the direction I think we're going to go in, so let's jump right into it. First and foremost, at the Royal Rumble, I think that it's just going to happen. Roman Reigns is going to be crowned your new Universal Champion. It's not what I would do. It's not how I would push him, but Vince McMahon is convinced that he is best for us and best for business, and so I think he's going to topple Kevin Owens tonight and get that strap. Secondly, on the other side of the coin, I believe tonight it is going to happen that John Cena will claim his 16th championship, tying Ric Flair. A lot of people think that this is going to be held off till WrestleMania. I think it's more important to do it now. This is a big stage. They're trying to make an even bigger deal out of the second tier. I guess I shouldn't call Royal Rumble a second tier pay-per-view, but out of the top 4 pay-per-views we get every year, this is definitely number 2, and I think they want to hype it even more so. And I believe that John Cena is going to come away with that championship. So then, looking into the Rumble itself, this has been the most unpredictable year that we've arguably ever had in terms of trying to predict who's going to come out of that Rumble as the winner. And I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of wrestling news, and, I'm a Dave Meltzer fan like anybody else. But I believe that The Undertaker is coming away with the win tonight and will be WrestleMania bound. And I'll tell you why I think that as we roll right into our WrestleMania predictions. Now, my very first one is something that I'm a little even skeptical of myself. Braun Strowman is getting a pretty big push over on Raw, and it would not surprise me if he was in a main event or B main event going into WrestleMania, but my first instinct would be to give him that Andre the Giant Battle Royal claim. It would be an excellent next step for him without throwing him into the main event too quickly. Looking over at the cruiserweights, I really don't know too much about when Austin Aries is expected to return, but he's made a great showing on commentary for the cruiserweight division, and no one can argue that Neville has been the absolute best thing to happen to the cruiserweight division. I think he's coming out of Rumble with that championship. I think he's going to keep it all the way through WrestleMania, and I think Austin Aries would make a great number 1 contender for that belt, further elevating this division. All right, looking at the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. I'm going to be honest with you, the first time I came up with my predictions, I thought that Bray and Randy Orton were going to WrestleMania with those belts. Now that American Alpha has it, I think it would be an awesome time for the Revival to get the push up into SmackDown, help fill out that tag team division, and what better stage than to see probably the 2 top tag teams that WWE has to offer right now than to put them against each other at WrestleMania. All right, now, kind of follow along with me here because you're looking at a Rusev versus Cesaro match for the United States Championship, and you're wondering to yourself, hey, neither of them have that belt right now. Something that we're forgetting in all of this, and maybe I should have put this at the beginning of the podcast, WrestleMania is not till April. There's a lot of speculation about who's going into WrestleMania, who's facing who, but we forget there's 2 full pay-per-views between now and WrestleMania. A lot can happen. I'd love to see Rusev get that United States Championship back, get it out of the Universal Championship picture so that we have 2 titles and 2 distinct storylines on Raw. And who better than to have Rusev with the challenger of Cesaro. Cesaro needs a push. I mean, it's cool that they're the tag team champions with Sheamus right now, but I think he needs to have a singles run leading up to a Universal Championship match, and I think this is the stepping stone to do it. Going over to SmackDown for the Women's Championship. Yes, Alexa Bliss is the current champion, but again, we have like 4 months until WrestleMania. I think the belt's going to go on to either Mickie James or Becky Lynch in the meantime, and then we're going to see those two go head-to-head at WrestleMania. For the tag team division on Raw, I think that those belts are going to the Club. Maybe not at Royal Rumble in the pre-show match, but sometime in between now and then, and I think your WrestleMania program is going to be Enzo and Cass against the Club, and you're going to watch Enzo and Cass get a huge pop when they win their first tag team championships. Keeping with tradition for the Intercontinental Ladder match, I think this is going to Sami Zayn. What a better way to, number one, highlight him and give him the push he deserves without throwing him into the Universal Championship picture. Do I think that Sami Zayn is deserving of the Universal Championship? Absolutely, but we can't go from him being squashed by Braun Strowman all the way up to a major title. I think that the Intercontinental Championship is absolutely perfect for Sami Zayn. But you're wondering, hey, he's a Raw guy. SmackDown Intercontinental Championship is on SmackDown. I think that Intercontinental Championship ladder match could easily be, if you have 8 guys, 4 from SmackDown, 4 from Raw. I only have 2 cross-brand matches in my predictions, and I think that ladder match would be ideal to kind of raise up some of these second-tier competitors into a first-tier match. All right, so now that we have looked at American Alpha going against the Revival at WrestleMania as an option, I think it's pretty inevitable that we're going to see Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. It's been a decent storyline. It's been a confusing one. I don't know if Randy Orton's best fit is in the Wyatt family as a whole, but you also can't argue that it's probably the most compelling and different and unique approach to Randy Orton that we've seen in years. So I'll take it. It'll be a decent match at WrestleMania. I don't think it's going to highlight or steal the show by any means, but at least it continues on the story in a good way. Another very predictable match, seeing Triple H versus Seth Rollins. I think this will be the second match they have. Again, we have 4 months until WrestleMania, and I can't imagine that we're going to watch Seth Rollins chase and search and hunt down Triple H for 3-4 more months until we get to April. Last night at NXT was awesome. Absolutely awesome that they brought Seth Rollins and Triple H into NXT, gave it a little more of a push for the brand itself to say, you can't miss this stuff. You got to watch NXT because there's some cross-brand stuff going on over here that you're going to miss out on. So I think this will be a great match at WrestleMania, but I think it'll be the second match that they have, perhaps if they have a match going into it at Fastlane. On Raw for the Women's Championship match, I think everyone is expecting Charlotte to come out of Royal Rumble with that title. I think Bayley will look strong coming out of that match, but I think to put her in just a rematch for the next 3 months against her, chasing that belt, will be way too predictable for Bayley to claim that title at WrestleMania. Doesn't mean that I don't think she's going to come out of there with the belt. I think, though, if you do a fatal 4-way match with Bayley, Charlotte, Nia Jax, and Sasha Banks, it gives a little bit more of an unpredictability to it. I still think Bayley's going to get that championship with 20-foot-high waving inflatable tube men all around the stadium, but I think you need a little bit more of a hint of doubt, and I think that a fatal 4-way will do just that. If you have been following my podcast for the past couple months, I have predicted Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens match ever since Survivor Series. I predicted them to go against each other at Survivor Series. I predicted them to go against each other at the Royal Rumble, and they are still best friends. Everyone's expecting this. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe they will just completely ignore the progression of this, but I highly doubt it with Chris Jericho obviously having some input in the storyline, and I think you'll finally get this battle at WrestleMania. And on the other side of that, I think obviously the Brock Lesnar-Goldberg match is slated to happen. It makes the most sense. I don't think that you need a title in this match. I'd be highly disappointed If this match is any shorter than 5 minutes, I will also not be surprised if it is shorter than 5 minutes. I'll be honest with you, I'm not overly excited about the two of them going against each other, but these are predictions, and that's what I think is going to happen. On the flip side of that, what I am ecstatic and very excited for is the potential of AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. This would be amazing. This would steal the show. This would be a Shawn Michaels type WrestleMania match. Do I think that one of the two has to cross over? Absolutely not. I don't think you have to do any kind of trade or brand draft for these two. I think this could be an inter-promotional match, and that's all I have to say about it. This would be one of the greatest matches we could ever see, and I sincerely hope we see it at the grandest stage of them all. Now, here's an interesting prediction. If Roman Reigns does come out of the Royal Rumble with that Universal Championship, a lot of people think he's going to be going against Taker. A lot of people think he's going against Goldberg. I think the best person for him is some fresh blood with Samoa Joe. I do think he's going to show up at the Royal Rumble, or perhaps the Raw after Royal Rumble, and I think Samoa Joe could be the best match that Roman Reigns needs right now. You need a powerhouse, you need a monster, and I think that will help Roman Reigns in the eyes of the fans. He's still going to get booed. It doesn't matter who you put him up against. But if you had to pick, if you want Roman Reigns to get over with the crowd, don't put him against Taker. He'll get booed out of the stadium. Put him against someone like Samoa Joe and let the fans choose who they want to cheer for. All right, now, again, I listen to Dave Meltzer as much as the next guy, and according to Meltzer, Undertaker versus John Cena is off the table. But you know what? I've been listening to podcast after podcast after podcast for the last year as much as anybody else has, and a lot of these predictions have been wrong. So I don't put a whole lot of weight in what people say is off the table or isn't off the table. I think Undertaker versus John Cena is an excellent match. It's a long time coming. They never wanted to do it because they didn't want to push Cena down the heel run, because again, it doesn't matter who you put up against The Undertaker at WrestleMania, they're going to get booed. John Cena's come out with a lot more attitude, and I think that this would be a stellar match between the two of them, whether or not it's Undertaker's last ride, no pun intended. And I couldn't even tell you who would come out of this with the title. But this is your headliner. This is your story. It could even be the career versus title. But I think this is the showcase of showcases at WrestleMania. All right, let me know what you think. Have a great Royal Rumble Sunday. We appreciate your support. We are available on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Leave us some comments. Likes are always appreciated. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you on the other side of the Royal Rumble.